So welcome everyone to our Yoga Sadhana practice. We are going to start with a combination of some breath work and then we'll move into the movement aspect of our practice and finish with chanting and meditation. So let's go ahead, we'll come back to a comfortable seat and you can choose whatever that might be for you today. Some of us like to sit over our ankles, some of us like to cross our legs, but just find something that works for you. So we're going to start by placing one hand on our belly, and your pinky is going to rest right in where your belly button is. And your other hand can come up to your heart, sit up nice and tall in your spine. We're going to practice a diaphragmatic breath. So this is called the yogic breath in our tradition. And you're just relaxing your belly out as you inhale. So let the bottom hand come out as you inhale. And then as you exhale, let it naturally draw back in. And just take a few rounds to get a sense of that feeling of the movement. Some of us may naturally close our eyes, but it can also be helpful for concentration to keep the eyes open, especially if you feel sleepy. And then you might invite that breath a little higher in the body. So as you inhale, expand the belly out, and then bring the breath up into the ribs and let the top hand start to rise. And breathing right up to the top of the shoulders, right into the throat even into the brain if you can, and then exhale, let all the breath come out. So this is a very slow and intentional breath. Try to keep the rest of your body relaxed, like your feet and your face. All of your attention on the movement of the hands and the body. And the feeling of breath expanding on inhale, releasing on exhale. And for our last few rounds, you can either just continue exactly as you are, or with eyes closed, start to invite the breath to expand in every direction in the body. So not just a belly forward, but also the lower back beginning to expand, the ribs expanding. And lastly, you might invite your awareness to the point between the two eyebrows, either leaving the hands as they are, or you can just rest them up on the lap and use this as an opportunity to practice the yogic breath, expanding belly, ribs, and chest, while gazing out through the point between your eyebrows. Let your last breath be very slow and deep, expanding as much as you can, filling the body. And we're going to pause at the very top of this breath. If you'd like, you can push off of your lap and reach your shoulders up a little bit higher, get the breath even deeper. Just lightly hold the breath in so that it can distribute into the whole body. You might need to sip in little breaths here and there. Nothing forceful. When you reach your capacity, you pause there for a few moments. And at some point, you're rolling the shoulders down and back and pressing the heart forward as you exhale and release the breath. We'll just take 3 rounds of breath in silence here with the attention at your spiritual eye. Tuning into the spine. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can gently open the eyes when you feel ready to. We're just going to start in the neck here, so you can look side to side. Eyes can be opened or closed. And let the chin wash down towards the chest and then up towards the next shoulder. And the more that you can keep an upright spine, the better for these neck rotations. If you'd like to go up and around, you just gently lift the chin. So we're not dumping the head back, but just gently lift the chin and then set it around. See if you can maintain the yogic breath, deep rhythm of breath expanding through the body. And we're going to come back to neutral. Just take the hand and gently push your chin towards your throat. And then we're going to circle the whole head and neck. So imagine like you have a pencil on the top of your head. Or you could even imagine the base of your spine is the bottom of that pencil. And you're just rotating the whole shape around here. And then just gently come back to neutral. So let's take an inhalation. We'll reach the arms up overhead. You can interlace the fingers and press the palms. This is a good opportunity to look up with the chin. And exhale, hands into the throat. Finish the exhale by pushing out and looking down towards the lap. So inhaling to draw in. Finish the inhale to reach up. Exhale to descend. Finish the exhale by looking down. Good. So keep all your energy and attention centered on your throat. Gradually releasing any subconscious tension held in this region. Let's use the affirmation, in inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. In inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. And you can fold the hands into prayer when you're done. And we'll just take a moment here. In inner silence, I sip the sparkling waters of thy peace. And very gently, we're going to transition out of our seat up onto the hands and the knees. And just take a little reach back, pointing the toes of one of your legs and just rocking forwards and backwards. You can curl the toes under and roll on the ball of the foot. And just getting acquainted here with engaging the region of the belly, the inner fire. And then set that side down, come right to the other side. You could start with pointing the toes and sinking back, and then start with them curled underneath and roll forwards and backwards. Good. And then leave the knee a little bit further back down behind you, and we're going to step the other to meet. So this would be a nice modification for plank position. and you just keep the belly pushed up towards the spine. If you want to lift your knees, you can lift your knees and keep your hips high in this version of plank. We're going to take a few moments here, same thing, just roll forwards and backwards over the ball of the foot. You can always have your knees on the ground. Good. And then you can set your knees down onto the ground, and we're going to take them a little bit wider, and we're going to come down onto forearms and extend our arms out, and then sink back in your hips. So any version of this will do. You just want to rest your head down and invite openness in the hips. This is called Anahata pose. Anahata is the Sanskrit name for the heart. And when you're ready, you just slowly come back up, hands underneath the shoulders, and keep knees nice and wide, and just start circling in the hips for a few rounds. Just be mindful of where we're choosing to place our awareness. And moving always from a calm center. So if you need to slow down, you slow down a little. If the body's a little sleepy, you might have to energize the body, but just treat the body the way that it needs. Knees back underneath the hips. We're going to come into cat and cow for opening the spine. So you inhale, belly goes low, crown of the head to the sky. I like to sink back almost like a child's pose and then roll up forward into the cat position. Gives it a nice smooth flow. When you come forward, you can keep nose nice and low as you peel into the cow pose. If you notice that you're gripping in some part of your body, maybe it's your feet or your face, just lighten up in your practice. You can also try smiling, and when you come into cow position, you feel that wonderful upward flow of energy, and then as you exhale, looking to the lap, tucking the chin to the chest. Let's come into a neutral position here, and we are going to tuck the toes underneath. You can inhale, and let's walk the hands one step forwards, and we're going to spring forward, so we're back in a plank position, and then push your hips up towards the sky for downward facing dog. You're going to go right back the way you came in, inhaling towards plank. Good. Exhaling back onto the knees. We'll touch down for child's pose. So make this nice and rhythmic. You're inhaling, rising up through plank position. Exhale, hips go to the sky as you sink the heels. Inhaling, we go forward, tuck the belly up into the spine. Exhale, we set knees down and forehead to the earth. Couple more rounds. There's no rush. The gift is in the process of the movement. And the last time that you come up through, we'll all end in downward facing dog together. In downward facing dog, you can have feet hips distance apart, or you can join the big toes together. It's just a matter of preference. Let's use the affirmation, calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. So soften the muscles to embrace that affirmation. Calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. When you're ready, we're stepping large step with the left foot all the way forwards. Right knee can come back down for a moment. Just come into standing up in your lunge position and go ahead and brace onto the front thigh and just lift the heart forwards. That's all. Neutral position for a moment. Calmness radiates from every fiber of my being. Now be gentle as you might embark on this next pose. We're going to release our hips forward. So we may just have only about a centimeter forward. So you may be able to release quite far, and you're going to reach your arms up above. Push down through the soles of the feet, like you're going to lift your body from the earth. See if you can become aware of the pelvic floor, the point where your legs are connecting at the base of your spine, and just lift the pelvic floor up. Let all that energy start to rise up through the arms. Use the affirmation, I attune my will to the source of all power. I attune my will to the source of all power. So make sure we land in the position, relaxing. And then when you're ready to, you can exhale and send the hands to the thigh and just press your way back up to a standing position here. And if you feel to, you can close your eyes. If that sends you off balance, just softly relax your gaze at the point between your eyebrows. So in between poses, try to let go of anticipation or momentum. We're going to come into half Hanuman pose from here. So you're going to start straightening this front leg. You can send your hands down to the ground. If you peel your toes up, this might make it a little bit easier to sustain in the pose. If it's more comfortable to point the toes. So you release your hips back and you're sort of lowering your heart over the extended leg. At some point you can bow the head and the neck down. And send your breath all up and down your left leg. Just like you were rinsing the dishes, rinse with the breath and the mind up and down the leg by relaxing physically. When you're ready to release out of the pose, easiest way to get out would be to just step that foot back onto the ground and step the hands onto the inside of the leg, and you should be able to wave that left foot all the way back. It could be nice to give it a point all the way behind you. If you'd like, you can tap your head to the ground. Just little options to get a deeper degree of movement. Good. We're going to take child's pose. You choose knees close together or far apart. Your choice. Further apart is more challenging on the body, more demanding of the hips. The affirmation, I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. I relax from outer involvement into my inner haven of peace. Let's make sure we finish at the spiritual eye. That is lifting your attention right there and letting the breath open and relax this point. When you're ready to rise out of the position, just start to slide the hands towards the knees. Use the strength of your legs to rise up into a cat position, exaggerating opening of the spine, and then you can slowly return back to hands and knees. We'll tuck toes underneath. Let's slide the hands forwards. You can inhale and spring right through your plank position using the toning of your belly to hold you, and then exhale, heels get heavy. We're in downward facing dog. Let's pause here for a few moments and let the spine open. Remember to be actively calm, and as you're active, to be calmly active. Actively calm, calmly active. Right foot's coming all the way up between the hands. When you're ready to, tap the back knee down, and you go ahead and stand up through. And just take a moment here to roll the shoulders down and back and to find your sense of balance and gravity. When you're ready to progress, you might start to let the hips lean forwards. Just find a place that's sustainable, and then you inhale and sweep the arms out around the body until they're up above. When hands are above the head, let the arms slide into the shoulders. So you're still reaching through tips of the finger, but the arms are plugged into the shoulders. Push down through the soles of your feet to draw energy from the earth to create an upward rising current through the spine. I attune my will to the source of all power. I attune my will to the source of all power. Before you leave the pose, make sure that you really arrive. Soften the body and abide in the position calmly. When you feel to, you stand up and let the arms come down and just brace onto the front thigh. Get the spine aligned over the knee and the hip. If you feel to, you can close your eyes, but just take a moment to be neutral. I'm going to gently move into the half Hanuman pose. If you have long legs, you might need to scooch your foot forwards a little bit, but then you just start to lengthen the leg and draw the hands down towards the earth. So sink the hips back as you start to fold your belly towards the thigh. Perfectly fine if the knee bends. And initially your back is just like the cow pose. So your belly's heading for the thigh. And this is the active phase. And then when you feel to, you start to lower the chin, lower the head, and let the back of the neck relax completely. Head towards the ground. And the backs of our legs teach us patience and humility. There's no amount of force that is going to get this part of your body to stretch safely. It's only through patience and relaxation. And we use the affirmation, I offer myself as a channel in service to divine grace. I offer myself as a channel in service to divine grace. When you're ready to relieve yourself of the pose, just roll that foot back onto the ground, walk the hands around and then onto the inside of the leg, and we'll sweep that leg back You can give it a little point and a kiss of the forehead to the ground. Good. And let's go ahead. We can either sit over ankles if this is uncomfortable in your body. Just come right into child's pose. Or you can even cross the legs, but we're going to get broad in our heart. If you have a pillow close by, sitting on a pillow underneath your knees can really help you in this pose. But we're going to be here for another position. This is called lion's pose. So this involves tensing the entire body and also opening the mouth and sticking out the tongue towards the chin. So some practices, people actually growl like a lion. We're not going to do that. We're going to hold the breath in and let that energy inwardly purify. So you take your hands nice and straight on the knees, point your fingers down. So we're going to take a deep inhalation and start to tense the body from the feet, through the legs, through the belly, ribs, chest, right up the arms, right up into the throat. Open the mouth wide, stick the tongue towards the chin. Hold the breath in. Good. Exhale, relax, soften the body, soften the body. Look right to the spiritual eye. I purify my every action, my every thought, and my speech. Okay, let's try it again. So we brighten up the fingers, start to tense the body. It's like you're becoming buoyant. You're about to float off the ground. Squeeze the legs, belly, ribs, chest, right up the arms, shoulders, throat. Stick out the tongue. Open the eyes wide. Good, and then just relax, relax. Sit up tall, look right to the spiritual eye. I purify my every thought, action, and speech. Okay, we're going to do it one more time and hold the breath in a little longer. So let's inhale, brighten the fingers, squeeze up through the legs, squeeze the thighs, glutes, belly, ribs, chest, straight up the arms, shoulders. Open the eyes bright, tongue towards the chin. Hold the breath in, feel it right at the throat. And relax. Let's repeat together at the spiritual eye inwardly. I purify my every thought, every action, and my speech. I purify my thoughts, actions, and speech. When you're ready to, you can go ahead and come out of this position by swinging the feet around. We're going to stay on the ground, I think, for the remainder of our practice. So feet are down, and we'll come into boat position. So get the spine nice and tall. Feet together, knees together, and holding onto the backs of the thighs. Let's start with the legs first. Try to lift the feet gently off the ground. If your lower back is pushing out, then you've gone too far already for your practice. You might just lift your toes off the ground. If the heels lift off the ground, you can still stay tall in the spine. Keep going, and if you can lift the feet without collapsing the lower back, feel free. Let's tune into the affirmation. Within my every breath is infinite power. Within my every breath is infinite power. All right, lower down as you are ready to. Feet connect back to the ground. Send the hands to the sides and just release in the spine. So any sense of gripping or tightening in the spine, just wash that out for now. So we're building the strength, rinsing out the tension. Building the strength, rinsing out the tension. Let's come back up, and this time we're going to use our arms. So again, you can always hold onto your thighs, and you can just recline back. So feet stay on the ground in this version. And if you can flip your palms up and out while still reaching up through the heart, then this is our pose. If you need to take a break, or even come back up and sit, or even fold over and relax, you can. Let's tune back into our affirmation. Within my every breath is infinite power. Palms facing up, deep receptivity. Draw that power in. Within my every breath is infinite power. Within my every breath is infinite power. All right, let's draw the hands to the heart if you can for just a moment. Calmly release out of the pose. You can fold yourself over your knees. Just make sure your back rounds. With the chin drawn towards the chest, we're opening the base of the skull, and this is the entry point of that cosmic power into the body. So it's purely with awareness and intention. Feel that current flowing through your body like a stream of energy or consciousness washing into the feet, through the arms, especially up and down the spine. When you're ready to rise out of this position, fingers are pointing towards the heels. You can keep knees bent for modified version or extend the legs. We're going to do front stretching pose. You point the toes and lift the hips up off of the ground. The affirmation: with a burst of energy, I rise to greet the world. Try smiling. With a burst of energy, I rise to greet the world. So use the belly muscles, and you come down before there's any sense of fatigue in the body. We're going to fold forwards and just relax our head and neck down. Round the back. You can let the knees bend if need be. So we're not going to sleep in these resting postures, but we're actively breathing. We're calmly active, actively calm. Take the deepest breath that you can into your body, nice and slow. Make sure that you are relaxed so that that breath can expand into the furthest regions of your body. Complete exhalation. When you're ready to rise up, slowly rolling back. And we're going to do front stretching pose one more time. This time, let's take the affirmation just inward. So you can bend the knees if need be, or you straighten the legs and look over the navel. So inwardly, a little quieter, drawing on subtle power. With a burst of energy, I rise to greet the world. With a burst of energy, I rise to greet the world. Come down when you need to. Roll yourself right up, off, and onto your side. We'll go right side first so that we're uniform. Your feet are stacked one on top of the other. And we're going to lift ourselves off of the ground. You may be able to draw both hands apart. You may need to drop the bottom knee as extra support. So with deep concentration, let's repeat the affirmation. The calm fire of my concentration burns all restlessness, all distraction. The calm fire of my concentration burns all restlessness, all distraction. So inhale to expand, exhale to release out. So both hands come down, slide the leg out of the way if you have it modified. Good, both legs extend nice and long. You can inhale and float the arms as high as they'll go. If they can go above the head, great. And then exhale, fold forwards. So those of us that experience nervous tension, anxiety, restlessness, any posture where you're folding forward helps to discharge that energy from the body. The affirmation for our forward fold: I am safe, I am sound, all good things come to me. I'm safe, I'm sound, all good things come to me. Try ever so slightly leaning towards one side of the neck or the other, ever so slightly. You have to be very mindful for the health of your neck. Your chin is relaxed towards your chest. If you do this very conscientiously, there could be a wonderful sensation of energy drawing along the spine. It goes right down your neck towards your heart. You're ready to rise up, slowly come up into your seat, and we're just going to do the other side of our side plank position. So roll up onto the hip and roll your feet over to the side so they're lying down. As you lift, you can set a knee down if you need to. It's important that your foundation hand has fingers pointing out away, and if you like, you can reach that leg out long and we lift ourselves. Good. Once you arrive in the pose, settle in. Draw on subtle currents of power. Good. And with laser beam-like focus, right from the point between your two eyebrows, with the calm fire of my concentration, I burn all restlessness, all distraction. Burn that mental fog out of your mind, out of the front of your brain. When you're ready to lower down, draw the knee to the earth. Slowly descend with the hips. Good. We're going to come down onto our backs for a little bit now. So you can go ahead and lower down, just holding on to the knees. Take knees up and towards the chest. We'll start with a little bit of stirring. Keep the knees close together and imagine you're drawing a circle on your lower back in the sacrum region, which is the back side of your hips. And then reversing the rotation. So we're building strength and then releasing tension. This is your opportunity as we draw energy into the body to relax those parts of the body so that that energy can soak in. And then you can let the knees open wide towards the shoulders. We're going to send feet halfway to the sky. Keep the knees deeply bent and hold on to any part of your leg that you can reach. If you want to go higher, you can go up higher towards your feet. If you like rocking side to side, you can rock. This is a nice massage for your kidneys. If you ever feel a deep sense of fear about a particular situation, it can be nice to just get on to the back if your environment allows and massage the kidneys a little bit. Discharge that fear from your body. The affirmation, I am a happy baby. I made that one up on the spot. I am a happy baby. And then you could join your feet together. Push your knees out. So you might need to move your arms away, but just push your knees out while holding on to your feet. This is the counter pose to the happy baby. It'll let go of all of that energy in your hips. And then when you're ready, you just center the feet down onto the ground. We're going to extend our legs nice and long, and we'll come into fish pose. Just gonna make a little adjustment here in case anyone's watching for this pose. So in the fish pose, you take palms facing down, elbows are slightly bent. Depending on the length of your arms, you may need to adjust. We're going to slide on the base of our head, and we're going to balance on our elbows. You're lifting your heart actively. And your lower spine has a nice little curve in it. So it's curving up from the ground and reaching up through your body. Good. Squeeze the shoulders underneath the body. And this pose requires maturity to come down before the body is in any sort of a compromised position, especially if you've had injury on your neck or your throat. When you're ready to come down, you don't have to lift your head. You just slide on the back of the head and sort of slide it out of the way and let the arms part till you're on the ground. If you feel any uncomfortable sensation in your spine, bend your knees and wave them side to side. Feet are on the ground. We're going to come back into this pose. Take your time. An alternative, if that felt like too much for your body, is the bridge position, which would be leaving feet on the ground and you just lift the hips and interlace the fingers under that space. So if you're coming into fish, legs go long, toes are touching, your big toes are connected down at the bottom of your body. Palms facing down, elbows slightly bent, just slide up onto the top of the head. It's not the very crown of your head, it's the back corner. If your head was a cube, it's the back corner. The affirmation, my soul floats on waves of cosmic light. Just imagine that as you look behind yourself, right up to the spiritual eye. My soul floats on waves of cosmic light. Like sunbeams shimmering on the ocean water. My soul floats on waves of cosmic light. You can stay longer if your body allows, but if it's time to come down, slide the head out of the way, relax the heart onto the ground. Let's take knees up in towards the chest, just give yourself a little hug and rock side to side. So whatever it is, whatever's circulating in your body, breathe and let it move. Let it circulate right out. So we're going to end with a little series here that is a bit stimulating for your body, but it's wonderfully helpful for getting energy moving. So we're going to take our hands and just gently tuck them, little soft fists, tuck them right underneath your hips. And then you send your feet up towards the sky. So it's important that your lower spine is connected to the ground here. So although we have a lift in our hips, make sure it's connected. Good. So you're going to push down through your belly like you're drilling into the earth. Push down through your belly. And again, you may not need your hands, and you could take them out of the way if you need, but we're going to inhale as you point the toes and lower the legs. Good. Exhale, flatten the palms and push off the ground as you reach the feet behind you. And you come right back to. So soft fists if you need them, or just hands. Inhale to point the toes. Exhale, push off the ground with a little momentum, reach behind you, and then come back. So we're not coming into a full plow pose. This is actually called tranquility pose, where you just have your feet enough over your face, and then you go back to. Now, one thing to keep in mind, no part of this movement is swinging around. We're just using the calm energy of our body. Pushing off the ground, reaching behind us. Now, keep with the movement. If you have low spine sensitivity, please stop at this point and just rest. If you've ever injured a disc or had any sort of a muscle injury in the spine, just relax. Now you can see that this movement can really exaggerate. We can have feet going almost all the way down towards the ground. We can be folding all the way back into plow position. So again, the more challenging a pose, the more maturity that it requires. And that maturity is knowing when to stop, knowing when the pose is serving to open you up spiritually, and recognizing that that is the highest goal. If you have a tendency for intensity, do less and pay deeper attention to the subtleties. If you have a tendency to do less and be more sleep-like, sedentary, you may, following your own intuition, try to invoke more energy. Do a few more rounds. In any case, this is the point in your practice to walk right towards the precipice. That doesn't necessarily mean physically. And you relieve yourself of the practice whenever you intuitively feel to. Set the feet onto the ground, knees are bending, and wave the knees side to side. And this will release all of the excess tension that maybe had nothing to do with building the strength. It was just a protective tension, and we're rinsing that out so that the strength can settle in. And soften the heaviness of your eyelids. If your eyes are closed, let them be very lightly closed, and your face angelic, very lightly holding the whole body. We're going to finish with a deep twist in either direction. So, carrying this energy of serenity with us, let's go ahead and you can place your palms down if you need them for support, but we're going to inhale and lift our hips and set them way off to the left. And then roll your knees on to the right. If you need to, you can take both arms onto the side and you can lay on your side. If you're wanting to twist, send your top arm open. If all the way open is too much, you can hold onto your heart or even onto your hips. And if you want more twist, the top leg goes long. We point the toes even. The affirmation, I open to the flow of divine life within me. I open to the flow of divine life within me. Allowing your awareness to witness that flow of energy through the body. Recharging your cells. Before moving any part of the physical body, allow a moment just to feel the space of your body, the stillness, and anything else you might notice. And drawing that energy through the body to the limbs, using the will to wake the body back up, we can slowly invite the movements of fingers and toes. Let it be perfectly intuitive. You can gently start to close the top arm back over to the side and then eventually roll on to the back. Now remember, when you come back onto your spine, that your hips have been lifted way off to the left side of your mat. So when feet return to the earth, inhale and sweep your hips all the way to the other side. You can always use your hands to find the edges of your mat and just align yourself with one edge, the opposite. of the first side we started on. And then your knees come over to the side. You can even roll your whole body over to that side. Most of us have to choose if our knees are going to rest towards the ground. It means that our shoulder, at least the top shoulder, is going to be lifted in the air. If you prefer to have your shoulders on the ground, then it's going to be your knees that are lifted in the air. I personally recommend you release your knees to the ground and let your shoulder be the one to float so that you're more stable. And we're starting with the affirmation, I open myself to the flow of divine life within. I open myself to the flow of divine life within. You may like to bring your attention to the point between your two eyebrows and to just gaze out of this point and feel yourself expanding like a perfume into the room. And even as the body's in deep rest, let your awareness remain wakeful, expansive. Without moving any part of the body, give yourself a few more moments to contemplate the following words. part of a greater reality. I am a part of a greater reality. Let's bring the attention to the point between the two eyebrows. Expanding from that point to every other part of the body. Slowly, we're going to begin our return journey to the mat. Onto our back. So if you have top arm extended out, you can just go ahead and fold it back over to one side. Just gently, gently come out of the position. When you're on your back and your knees are bent, it can be helpful to hold the sides of your mat and press into your feet and lift your hips and try to get a sense of center. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then if you need to wave the knees side to side, you're most welcome to, just to get everything evened out from these long holds. And I would recommend before you go into Shavasana or a final meditation pose that you do bridge pose. This just gets everything synced back up in the lower spine, so you push off of your feet and lift your hips up off. Make sure you squeeze your glute muscles for support. Lift your heart and engage along the spine, so the spine's drawing together. You can interlace your fingers underneath if you'd like. When you feel like you've had your fill of that position, hands come out of the way, hips come down. For Shavasana, you just extend your legs nice and long, and you're lying on your back. If you have a blanket, now's a lovely time to put that over the body, or even a sheet is helpful. If you'd like to meditate for the end of your practice, you just come up into a comfortable seat. This is a good time for socks or sweater, whatever you might need, as the body temperature usually drops a little as we become very still. Let's draw the awareness to the point between our two eyebrows and let this be the place that you rest calmly and decidedly for the duration of your Shavasana. The eyes are closed, palms face up. mentally chant the sound of Om. Very gently begin the process of quietly rising to a comfortable seat. So without stimulating the body too much by stretching, awakening, just sort of roll off to your side and come like you're coming straight from bed to your morning practice. We'll all arrive in a comfortable seat together. And we'll use a chant today as a healing prayer going out into the world. We'll all chant together. As you do arrive, just make sure that your spine is nice and tall. Lift your gaze to the spiritual eye. And imagine that these words are magnetized by the energy of your practice, by the divinity flowing through you. And that like waves of awakening, they are rippling out into the world, breaking on the shores of receptive hearts, good conscience, morality, ready, you can gently fold your hands in prayer. We'll close with a prayer together. Divine Mother, may thy love shine forever on the sanctuary of our devotion, and may we be able to awaken thy love in all hearts. Om Peace. Amen. Gentle bow of your head towards your hands in prayer. We can close our practice bowing to the divine nature within ourselves, within all beings, by saying Namaste, Namaste. You take your time coming back as you're ready to. So if you can, keep a nice thread of this wonderful consciousness weaving into the actions of your day. Keep it alive in your heart and in your mind. All right, blessings, friends. We'll see you soon.